On the judo mat, the highly anticipated match begins with Han Yong rushing forward, fueled by intense arrogance. He is determined to humiliate Gong Joo-hyuk, thinking to himself that he will have the Omega runt crying in defeat. However, as Han Yong aggressively yanks Joo-hyuk's gi, Joo-hyuk displays incredible reflexes, slipping out of his grasp and engaging in a tight grapple. Moving with swift footwork, Joo-hyuk firmly shoves Han Yong back, creating distance on the mat. Stunned by the sudden resistance, Han Yong backs away, trying to comprehend Joo-hyuk's massive shift in presence. Standing in a powerful, focused judo guard, Joo-hyuk radiates an entirely different, highly intense vibe from before. As the two circle each other, they step near the boundary lines. The referee quickly steps in, waving his hands and shouting for them to halt because they have gone out of bounds. Observing Han Yong's hesitation, the referee calls a penalty against him for evading contact. Han Yong is left panting heavily, sweat dripping down his face as the spectators in the crowd begin to whisper. They point out that Han Yong is actively avoiding engagement and note that just one more penalty will result in his disqualification. The crowd's murmurs are filled with disbelief, considering Han Yong is supposed to be on the national team. With only 1.5 minutes left on the clock, a furious Han Yong refuses to accept that he is struggling against a recessive Omega. In a desperate bid to turn the tide, he begins releasing his powerful alpha pheromones. The sudden wave of alpha pheromones ripples through the arena, causing the coaches, spectators, and even the referee to flinch in shock. Despite the overwhelming pressure, Joo-hyuk remains completely unfazed, his eyes narrowing in sharp focus. As Han Yong swings his arm forward to strike, Joo-hyuk cleanly slips past his defense and gets a secure grip on Han Yong's GI. With seamless technique, Joo-hyuk loads his opponent onto his back and lifts him high into the air. The entire crowd gasps in sheer astonishment as Joo-hyuk executes a flawless, powerful judo throw. Han Yong is sent flipping completely upside down before being forcefully slammed flat onto the mat. Joo-hyuk holds the pin as the referee rushes over to inspect the fall. Raising his hand, the referee officially calls the match over, declaring Gong Joo-hyuk the victorious winner. Sweating and deeply relieved, Joo-hyuk looks up with a bright smile. Joo-hyuk's teammates immediately erupt into wild cheers, screaming his name as they storm the mat to celebrate. They engulf him in warm embraces, rubbing his head and cheering for his hard-earned triumph. Amid the chaos, a blonde-haired man wearing sunglasses sweeps Joo-hyuk off his feet, spinning him around in a giant hug while proudly declaring that he never doubted him. Blushing with deep gratitude, Joo-hyuk thanks him sincerely, admitting that he owes this victory entirely to him. His benefactor affectionately pats Joo-hyuk's head and teasingly suggests that if Joo-hyuk is truly grateful, he should let him take him out on a date later, leaving Joo-hyuk comically bewildered. Meanwhile, the humiliated Han Yong stomps away from the mat in a silent rage. When his concerned teammates try to ask if he is all right, he aggressively slaps their hands away, shouting at them to leave him alone and claiming he is simply under the weather. Backstage, Han Yong's eyes burn with pure fury as he curses the defeat, unable to accept that a dominant alpha like himself could ever lose to a weak Omega. Following the match, the title card "You Are My World" marks a transition to the evening's festivities. The team heads out to a local restaurant to celebrate Joo-hyuk's victory over his arrogant rival. Their coach gets completely hammered, loudly boasting about the win and draping himself over Joo-hyuk and his teammate. Comically rubbing his rough stubble against Joo-hyuk's cheek, the coach gives him a painful beard burn until Joo-hyuk asks his friend Ki-beom to help escort the drunk coach back to his room. Left alone for a moment, Joo-hyuk and Ki-beom share a warm, congratulatory smile. Later that night, Joo-hyuk arrives back at his room at the Grand J Hotel. Happy to finally have some peace, he happily tosses his jacket and bag aside, strips down to his t-shirt and boxers, and flops face first onto the soft, inviting bed. He rolls around on the mattress, letting out a satisfied sigh as the reality of his victory sinks in. He reflects on how Han Yong tried to use his alpha pheromones during the match, only to realize that they had absolutely no effect on him this time. In fact, Joo-hyuk didn't even smell them at all. Despite being at the training camp for 2 months and not taking his usual medicine, he hasn't experienced any of his typical Omega symptoms. Gently placing a hand over his stomach, Joo-hyuk blushes crimson as a startling realization hits him. He wonders if his body is completely fine because of his recent, highly intimate encounter with Sua, who had completely filled him with his alpha essence. Spotting a pair of cute plush keychains sitting on the dresser, Joo-hyuk reaches out and picks them up. The keychains, representing a pink bunny and a spiky brown ball, still carry Sua's comforting, distinct scent. Clutching the pink plush close to his face, Juhyok takes a gentle sniff, blushing happily as he sinks into the familiar aroma.